The courtroom fell silent as Judge Harlan slammed his gavel down, his voice booming like thunder. Maxwell Thompson, for the murder of Ryan Caldwell, this court sentences you to life in prison without parole. Maxwell's heart stopped. He was only 19, and the world he'd known shattered in that instant. His secret life as a gay teen exposed in the worst possible way, tangled in a crime he swore he didn't commit. But as the bailiff cuffed him, Maxwell's mind raced back to that fateful night, the one where love and betrayal collided. He'd met Ryan in secret, in the shadows of Boston's back alleys, away from prying eyes, especially his father's. His dad, Elijah Thompson, the U.S. Attorney General, the man who'd built his career on family values and tough-on-crime rhetoric, preaching against the very essence of who Maxwell was. How could he tell the man who railed against moral decay in speeches that his own son was gay? The thought gnawed at him like a persistent ache, deeper than the fear of prison. In the holding cell, Maxwell paced, his thoughts a whirlwind. Why had Ryan turned on him? Their relationship had started innocently enough. A stolen glance in history class, whispered conversations that turned into late-night meetups. Ryan was the confident one, the star quarterback hiding his own truths behind a facade of straight-laced popularity. But that night, in Ryan's apartment, things escalated. An argument over coming out, Ryan's fear of losing his scholarship, his family's rejection. "We can't do this anymore," Ryan had said, his voice cracking. Maxwell had pleaded, his heart breaking. But Ryan shoved him away, and in the struggle, Ryan fell, hitting his head. Maxwell panicked, called 911, but by the time help arrived, Ryan was gone, and the narrative twisted. A lover's quarrel turned deadly. Was it murder? Maxwell replayed it endlessly. No weapon, no intent, just a push in the heat of passion. But the prosecution painted him as a jealous predator, using his sexuality as a weapon against him. This is what happens when we let deviance run unchecked. The district attorney had sneered, echoing his father's own words from campaign trails. Elijah hadn't attended the trial. Too busy in D.C., or too ashamed. Maxwell's mother had sat in the back, tears streaming, but she was powerless against the family's image. Now, alone with a phone, Maxwell dialed the number he dreaded. "Dad, it's me. I need you." The line crackled, and Elijah's voice came through, stern as ever. "Maxwell? What the hell is going on? The news is blowing up." Maxwell swallowed hard, the weight of years of hiding crashing down. How do you confess to the man who could save you but might destroy you instead? His mind screamed, "Tell him everything." But doubt whispered, "He'll disown you." Elijah arrived at the prison the next day, his suit impeccable, Secret Service in tow. Maxwell was led into the visitation room, chains clinking. "Son," Elijah said, his face a mask of control, "explain this mess." Maxwell's throat tightened. "Dad, Ryan and we were together, in love. It was an accident." Elijah's eyes widened, then narrowed. Inside, Elijah's world tilted. His son, gay? The scandals he'd prosecuted, the laws he'd championed, all aimed at people like this. But this was blood. "You expect me to believe that?" he snapped, but his voice wavered. As they talked, Maxwell poured out the pain. The bullying at school for being different. The pressure to be the perfect son of a political powerhouse. "I hid it because of you," Maxwell accused, tears falling. "Your speeches, your policies. They make people like me feel like criminals." Elijah's mind reeled. He'd built his life on righteousness. But now, facing his boy's broken spirit, cracks formed. Had he created this monster? The system he'd enforced now ensnared his own. That night, Elijah sat in his hotel, staring at the ceiling. Power had always been his armor. But what if it had blinded him? He thought of his own youth, the fleeting attractions he'd buried under ambition and marriage. Was this karma? He picked up the phone, calling his aides. Dig into the case. Quietly. But doubt gnawed. Intervening could ruin his career, expose the hypocrisy. Yet letting Maxwell rot. That was unthinkable. Back in his cell, Maxwell curled up, thoughts tormenting him. Had he killed Ryan out of rage? Or was it truly accidental? The guilt twisted like a knife. He remembered Ryan's last words. "I can't live like this." Had Maxwell pushed too hard for openness? The shame of secrecy had poisoned them both. Society's judgment, family's expectations, they were the real killers here. Elijah met with the judge privately, leveraging his position. "This is my son," he admitted, the words tasting like defeat. But the judge was unmoved. "Justice is blind, General." Elijah's anger flared. How many times had he said the same? Now it mocked him. As days blurred, Maxwell's appeals began, but the media frenzy exploded. Attorney General's gay son convicted of murder. Headlines screamed, tearing at Elijah's facade. Protests erupted, LGBT groups decrying the sentence as homophobic, conservatives calling for Elijah's resignation. Inside, Elijah battled. Save his son and lose everything, or uphold the law and lose his soul? Maxwell, in isolation, confronted his demons. "I loved him," he whispered to the walls. "But love in hiding breeds destruction. Was coming out worth the risk?" His heart said yes, but the chains said no. Elijah stormed into his D.C. office, slamming the door so hard the framed Constitution rattled. His chief of staff, Marlene, followed cautiously. "Sir, the press is hounding us. We need a statement." Elijah sank into his chair, rubbing his temples. How had it come to this? His son, the one he'd groomed for greatness, Harvard-bound future leader, now branded a killer. And gay. The word echoed in his mind like an accusation. He'd always suspected, deep down, Maxwell's avoidance of girls, his quiet demeanor. But Elijah had pushed it aside, focusing on the family image. Wife, 2 kids, church on Sundays. Now that image cracked. "Get me the case files," he ordered. Marlene nodded, but her eyes held pity. Inside, Elijah's thoughts churned. "If I pull strings, I'm no better than the corrupt officials I've jailed. But if I don't, Maxwell dies in there, slowly, piece by piece." In prison, Maxwell faced his first night in Gen Pop, the jeers starting immediately. "Fresh meat, and a queer one at that," a burly inmate shouted. Maxwell kept his head down, but the words pierced. Why fight? He'd already lost everything. Ryan's face haunted him. Those blue eyes, full of promise, then fear. "I didn't mean to," Maxwell muttered in his bunk, replaying the shove. Was it anger at Ryan, or at the world that forced them to hide? The next visit, Elijah brought news. "I've got investigators on it. There might be inconsistencies in the witness statements." Maxwell looked up, hope flickering. "You believe me?" Elijah hesitated. "I believe in justice." But his voice lacked conviction. Truth was, doubt lingered. Had Maxwell snapped under pressure? Elijah's own marriage was loveless now, built on duty. What if Maxwell's passion had turned violent? As the investigation deepened, a bombshell. Ryan's ex-girlfriend, Sarah, had lied on the stand. She'd claimed to see Maxwell threaten Ryan days before, but records showed she was out of town. Why? Elijah demanded in a closed-door meeting. Sarah broke. "Ryan's family paid me. They couldn't handle him being, homophobia woven into the fabric of the case." Elijah's rage boiled. His own policies had enabled this, harsher sentences for crimes of passion in marginalized communities. But intervening meant betrayal. His conservative base would crucify him. "Think of your legacy," his wife, Margaret, pleaded over the phone. Maxwell made his choices. Elijah's heart ached. Choices? Like loving who you love? He thought of his brother, long estranged, rumored to be gay. Had he turned his back then too? Maxwell, meanwhile, joined a prison support group, hearing stories that mirrored his own. Families disowning sons, society labeling them deviants. One man, Carlos, shared, "I killed in self-defense, but they called it gay panic." Maxwell's mind raced. Was that his defense? No, he hadn't meant harm. But the guilt grew. If I'd stayed closeted, Ryan might live. The internal war raged, freedom versus authenticity. Elijah leaked the inconsistency anonymously, watching the media shift. Possible miscarriage of justice in AG's son case. Calls for retrial mounted, but so did attacks. A right-wing pundit accused Thompson using power to protect his deviant offspring. Elijah's polls tanked. Inside, he questioned, am I fighting for Maxwell or for myself? The hypocrisy burned. In a heated call, Maxwell confronted him. Dad, stop pretending. You hate what I am. Elijah exploded. I don't hate you. I hate what this does to us. Tears came unbidden. For the first time, he admitted, I was scared for you. The world isn't kind. Maxwell softened. Then change it. As pressure mounted, Elijah testified at the appeal hearing, risking perjury charges. My son is innocent. The courtroom gasped. But the judge, a political rival, denied bail. Elijah left defeated, thoughts swirling. Have I sacrificed my principles for family? Or was family always the principle? Maxwell, hearing the news, sank deeper. Betrayal from all sides, Ryan's family, the system, now his own doubts. What if I deserve this? He thought, the darkness closing in. The scandal escalated. Leaked emails showed Elijah had once donated to anti-LGBT groups. Protests outside his home turned violent. Margaret packed bags. I can't do this anymore. Elijah alone faced the mirror. Who am I without the title? In prison, Maxwell found a letter from Ryan's sister. He loved you. Forgive yourself. Tears flowed. But forgiveness? How, when society wouldn't? Elijah stood before the press corps, cameras flashing like gunfire. I stand by my son, he declared, voice steady despite the storm inside. The evidence was tainted by prejudice. Murmurs rippled, hero or hypocrite. Back in his office, he collapsed, the weight of betrayal hitting hard. His own party turned on him. Senators whispered impeachment. You've gone soft, one said. Soft? Elijah thought bitterly. We're finally human. His mind drifted to Maxwell's childhood. The boy who'd idolized him, mimicking speeches. I want to be like you, Dad. Now that admiration was poisoned. Elijah had chosen career over connection, speeches over support. The damage? Irreparable. He dialed Maxwell. I'm fighting, son. For you. But Maxwell's response chilled. Is it for me, or your guilt? In the prison yard, Maxwell dodged a fight, his thoughts a maelstrom. Guilt over Ryan consumed him, nights replaying the argument, the fall. If I'd let him go. But love demanded truth. Society's chains had strangled them. A guard's taunt. Fairy tales don't end well here. Maxwell snapped back inwardly. My tale isn't over. The retrial loomed, but twists emerged. Ryan's autopsy revealed drugs, self-inflicted. His journal found hidden, detailed depression from hiding his sexuality. Maxwell pushes me to be real, but I'm scared. Elijah's team presented it, but the prosecution countered. Manipulation by the accused. Maxwell, testifying, bared his soul. I loved him. That shove was desperation, not hate. The jury shifted uncomfortably. Elijah watched from the gallery, heart pounding. Seeing Maxwell vulnerable cracked him open. Memories flooded. Suppressing his own doubts in law school, marrying Margaret to fit the mold. Was he living a lie too? The thought terrified. If I admit that, everything crumbles. Post-testimony, a confrontation with Ryan's parents. You ruined our boy, Ryan's father spat. Elijah retorted. Your denial did. But inside, empathy stirred. They were victims of the same system. The exchange left him raw. How many families had he shattered with his laws? Maxwell, back in his cell, wrestled with forgiveness. Toward Ryan, for the betrayal and death. Toward himself, for the push. We were both trapped, he realized. But the trial's toll. Friends ghosted. Media vilified him as the gay killer. Identity weaponized against him. Elijah's career imploded. Resignation demands grew. His wife filed for divorce. Alone in a hotel, he broke. What have I done? Years of ambition for what? A hollow throne. He considered quitting, but Maxwell's face spurred him. One last fight. At the retrial's climax, a witness recanted, "I saw Ryan lunge first." The courtroom erupted. Elijah's influence? Accusations flew. But truth emerged self-defense. Maxwell's sentence reduced to manslaughter. Time served possible. Yet victory felt hollow. Elijah visited. "You're free soon." Maxwell glared. "Free? After what you put me through." The accusation stung. Elijah confessed, "I was wrong. About everything." Tears mingled, but damage lingered. Society's backlash intensified. LGBT advocates praised Elijah's awakening. Conservatives decried it. He lost allies, gained enemies. The price? Isolation. Was it worth it? He pondered nightly. Maxwell, awaiting release, questioned his future. Rebuild with truth or hide again? The internal conflict raged fiercer. Love demands sacrifice, but at what cost? As release day neared, betrayal struck anew. A leak revealed Elijah had pressured the witness. Scandal reignited. Corrupt AG saves gay son. Elijah faced charges. His choice: defend himself or protect Maxwell. In a final call, "Dad, don't." But Elijah chose, "I owe you this." Resignation followed. Career in ruins. Maxwell walked free, but chains remained. Guilt, loss. Standing outside, he thought, freedom but scarred. Maxwell stepped into the sunlight, blinking against the glare. The prison gates clanging shut behind him like a final judgment. Reporters swarmed. How does it feel to be out? He pushed through, mind numb. Free, but what now? Ryan gone, family fractured, identity a public spectacle. Inside, the void yawned wider. Did I earn this, or steal it through Dad's power? Elijah waited in a black SUV, face gaunt. Let's go home. But home? The DC mansion felt like a mausoleum now. Margaret gone, echoes of arguments lingering. In the car, silence stretched. Elijah broke it. I'm sorry, Maxwell, for everything. Maxwell turned, eyes blazing. Sorry? You built the system that almost killed me. The words hung, heavy with truth. At the house, Maxwell retreated to his old room, posters of heroes now mocking. He thought of Ryan obsessively. Their first kiss, stolen in a park, hearts racing. This is us, Ryan had said. But us became tragedy. Guilt clawed. If I'd been stronger, maybe he'd live. Or weaker, hidden forever. Elijah, downstairs, poured scotch, hands shaking. Impeachment hearings loomed. He'd be the villain now. Friends deserted, party disavowed. The price of awakening, total loss. He recalled his inaugural speech, justice for all. Hypocrisy laughed back. Had he ever believed it or just the power? A knock. Maxwell entered. Why'd you do it? Risk everything. Elijah met his gaze. Because you're my son, and I was blind. But Maxwell pressed. Blind or complicit? The confrontation escalated, voices rising. You preached hate, Maxwell yelled. Elijah countered. I preached order, but I see now it's fear. Tears flowed, barriers crumbling. Yet deeper wounds surfaced. Maxwell admitted. I pushed Ryan because he wanted to end it. I couldn't let go. Elijah listened, horror mixing with understanding. We all make mistakes in love. But Maxwell's mind screamed. Mine cost a life. The moral quagmire deepened. Was redemption possible? Society's judgment amplified. Online, Maxwell was hero to some, monster to others. Death threats arrived. Vigils for Ryan clashed with pride marches. Elijah's testimony went viral. My policies failed my family. Backlash. Too little, too late. In therapy, mandated post-release, Maxwell unraveled. I feel like a fraud, he confessed. The therapist probed. Because of the leak? No, because survival came at Dad's expense. Internal torment peaked. Loyalty versus justice. Betray the man who saved him? Elijah faced Congress, unbowed. I intervened because the system is broken. For my son. For all like him. Gasped.
Admitting corruption?
Career suicide. But inside, liberation. No more masks. Maxwell watched on TV, heart-tearing. Dad's sacrifice? Genuine or atonement? He drove to the hearing, bursting in. Stop! Don't throw it away. But Elijah continued. The truth must out. After father and son walked the mall, Washington Monument looming. What now? Maxwell asked. Elijah. Rebuild. Together. But doubt lingered. Could they? Betrayal's final twist. Margaret returned. Not for Elijah, but to sue for assets. You destroyed us, she accused. Elijah signed away, penniless but free. Maxwell witnessed, guilt compounding. My truth cost them everything. Nights brought nightmares, Ryan's fall, endless. Maxwell volunteered at LGBT centers, sharing his story. Hiding kills, he told youth, but inwardly. Does speaking heal or reopen wounds? Elijah, jobless, wrote a memoir, A Father's Reckoning. Publishers balked at the controversy. He persisted, exposing systemic bias. The cost? Anonymity gone, threats constant. In a quiet moment, Maxwell hugged him. I forgive you. But forgiveness for himself? Elusive. As months passed, bonds strengthened amid ruins. Yet the price echoed. Lost love, shattered careers, fractured souls. Maxwell stared at the mirror. Scars from prison fights faint but reminders eternal. 6 months free, yet chains of regret bound tighter. Ryan's grave called him weekly. He'd kneel, whispering apologies. I should have let you be. But truth haunted. Ryan's journal revealed his own suicidal thoughts, hidden from all. Did Maxwell's love save or doom him? The question festered, a moral abyss. Elijah, now a consultant for reform groups, spoke at rallies. I was the enemy within, he admitted to crowds. Boos mixed with cheers. Inside, the toll mounted. Health failing, isolation deepening. Was it worth it? Friends asked. He thought of Maxwell's smile, yes. But nights brought doubt. Did I redeem, or just shift the burden? A reunion with Ryan's sister, Emily, shattered calm. Ryan wrote about you with love, she said over coffee. But his fear, our parents' hate. Maxwell choked. I pushed him, Emily. He pushed himself. Revelation struck. Shared blame, societal poison. But Maxwell's mind rebelled. No excuses.
Il chose confrontation.
Elijah joined later, tension thick. I'm sorry for your loss, he offered. Emily glared. Your laws enabled the hate. Elijah nodded, broken. The meeting unearthed buried pain. Elijah's role in anti-gay legislation. I thought I was protecting families, he murmured. Maxwell exploded. Protecting? You destroyed mine. The argument raged homeward. You act like a martyr, Maxwell accused. Elijah. And you like a victim. Truth spilled. Elijah's suppressed attractions, confessed tearfully. I hid too, son. Married to conform. Maxwell reeled. Hypocrisy layered deeper. Father gay. The betrayal cut sharpest, years of judgment from a kindred soul. Reconciliation faltered. Maxwell moved out to a small Boston apartment, working as an advocate. Independence brought clarity, but loneliness amplified inner voices. Worthy of love again? Dates failed. Trust shattered. Everyone sees the killer, he thought. Elijah's book published, a bestseller amid controversy. Royalties funded Maxwell's work, a silent olive branch. But media dug. AG's secret life? Elijah denied, but seeds of doubt grew. His ex-colleagues shunned. Once powerful, now pariah. In a pivotal speech, Maxwell took the stage. My father's awakening came too late for Ryan, but not for me. Applause thundered, but inside. Forgiveness? Partial. The crowd's adulation felt undeserved. Survivor's guilt eternal. A final confrontation. Maxwell visited Elijah, frail in hospital after a stress-induced collapse. Why hide your truth? Maxwell demanded. Elijah whispered. Fear. Like you. The parallel struck. Generations trapped in the same cage. As Elijah recovered, bonds mended slowly. Shared therapy sessions unearthed traumas. Elijah's abusive father, demanding masculinity. Maxwell's bullying. Understanding bloomed amid pain. We both paid dearly, Elijah said. Yet society evolved unevenly. New laws passed, inspired by their story, hate crime protection strengthened. But backlash persisted. Attacks on centers, Maxwell targeted. Is change worth the fight? He pondered. In quiet reflection, Maxwell started a foundation for queer youth, honoring Ryan. Live openly, he urged, but his heart questioned. At what cost to those we love? Elijah, retired, volunteered beside him. Father-son, allies now. The journey's end? Ongoing. Losses tallied. Careers, relationships, innocence, gains, authenticity, fragile but real. As the story closes, Maxwell stands at Ryan's grave one last time. I choose to live for us. Tears fall, resolution hardening.